The current weather here in Berea is 29 degrees, and for WBWC weather, I am Andrew Hody. We have your onstage update coming up here in just a second. You just heard from George Thorogood of the Destroyers, Bad to the Bone on Oldies Amplified. Any requests, the phone number is 440-826-7846 Sting. We have a surprise guest on the show, very good friend of mine, WBWC alumni, former sports director, and also my co-host on the YouTube podcast, Raw Takes and Company. Matthias Andujar in the building. Matthias, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. It has been a long time since I've been in this station, so it's really fun to be back. And speaking of the weather, the snow, it's been coming down just like how almost like there's going to be rain, just like how the 49ers rained on the parade of Shador's second game. And man, just a lot of hopes from Browns fans coming up, and just not the way that they expected that game to turn out. I thought the Browns were going to have a lead, but I was proven wrong, just like a lot of games this week. You could find out more about that in this week's episode of Raw Takes and Company. But yeah,
I know it's going to be wild to talk about that game. I will say this, Shedeur Sanders actually did not look bad today. He looked promising in a lot of respects. He didn't look great, but he didn't look bad, so I want to emphasize that. But the Browns have a lot of issues outside of quarterback, to be quite honest with you. And it's just the entire offensive line. Wide receivers aren't very good. Shedeur Sanders needs some help if he's going to be the future. He looked promising today, but he didn't look all world. I want to emphasize that. The 49er defense was tough. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
And I know you're a Steeler fan, and that had to be a rough one for you today, too. I mean, the difference is the Browns lost 26-8. The Bills, they really gave it to the Steelers today. I mean, oh, boy. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers also hurt, too, huh?
Yeah, it was disappointing. Definitely something more for the pod than just here, but yeah, just a whole lot to talk about there.
And Ohio State with a big victory over Michigan. The drought is over, 27-9. First time Ohio State didn't allow Michigan to touch the end zone in 18 years, 2007. And I know we've made 2007 jokes on the pod before, but 14-3 was the final score there in 2007, 27-9 this time around. I think Matt Patricia might have been the answer for the defense. And I'll say this, that game really did feel like it was going Michigan's way the whole time because Ohio State couldn't play well against anybody but Michigan at the beginning of the game. But then Ohio State turned it around and the drought's over.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Day finally realized he's supposed to be in Ohio State. He's supposed to not like Michigan. And even with Brutus making the X on the M, they came in there, they made a statement this time around and knocked the Wolverines out of playoff contention. So always great to put a little salt on the wound to that team up north.
Agreed, completely. And you know what? I felt like Ryan Day had a sense of confidence this time around. I don't know if you agree with me, but it seemed like even on the sidelines, like last year, it seemed like he was nervous. Yeah, he was incredibly tense.
He had that aura with him. He was just like, I know what I'm doing. Ever since last year's loss, he just kind of looked at college football and said, I understand it now, and he hasn't lost since.
Yeah, and national championship too. That might have done something for him. It might be some magic for Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes. But I'll tell you what. That was an impressive feat for Ohio State yesterday, and a good way to end the 4-year drought. And, you and I, we were both born in the early 2000s, so, all our entire life we're used to Ohio State dominating the rivalry. And having 4 years in a row of Michigan feels weird. And, all the talks about the scandals and stuff that have happened, and we'll probably talk about that more on our pod, and we'll plug that here in just a second. But, it just felt weird, and with all the scandals that took place, I wonder in 20 years if Ohio State does take the rivalry back over a little bit here. We're going to be looking at this era of Michigan as a
big old question mark.
Big old question mark or asterisk, to be quite honest with you. Seeing Jim Harbaugh fled to the NFL and Sharon Moore. I mean, now the big thing is in Michigan, Sharon Moore might not be the answer for them, and they're starting to ask questions about that. I think that'll come within due time, though. I think they need to give him another year, but we'll talk about that on the podcast. Raw Takes and Company. It's me, it's Matthias Andujar, and our buddy Jake Malensic. All of us are WBWC alum, coincidentally. And you could check out the podcast on YouTube. Look up Raw Takes and Company, or Raw Takes and Co. to be specific. Of course, that's an ampersand for the and, so Raw Takes and Co. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Raw Takes and Co. as well. You can also follow Matthias, myself, and Jake Malencic individually on Instagram as well. If you want more on Raw Takes and Company, we do a lot of reels. We talk a lot of sports. It's just talking sports with the guys. Hour and a half every single Thursday. We upload new episodes. The last 2 weeks are on Wednesdays, though, with the holiday. So this upcoming week we'll be back on Thursdays. Matthias, appreciate you having you on here on Oldies Amplified, your debut appearance.
Yeah, thank you so much. I heard Michael Jackson in the hallway. I was like, wait a minute, I got to check it out. That's my king of pop, and I think the greatest artist of all time. So, yeah, had to check in, say hi.
Well, appreciate that, Matthias. And we're going to get to your onstage update really quickly before we get you back to the